bow is the most important thing of the violin. It gives the violin its breath. It makes the music sing, shape, breathe. It makes the art of the instrument, really. There's a lot of ways to hold the bow, but generally one wants a really natural looking bow grip. You can find a bow grip by sort of just making a fist, shaking out your hand, and that's sort of what the shape of your hand will be. Space between the fingers. Thumb is not flexed. It's sort of natural. You want to have flexibility and movement in all your fingers. Generally, you want the bow to rest in the top joints, in those lines right there. And you want the thumb to act as sort of a fulcrum for them to go around. So an adult bow hold looks like this. A beginner's bow hold often looks like this. And that does something to open up the hand and keep it from compressing. But you want it to be really loose. The pinky balances on top here. Some bow holds look a little bit more like that, maybe look more like this. Some are wrapped around a little bit more. Everybody's hand is different, but you want it to be very fluid. You want to be able to do this kind of action, up and down, all in a circle. You want to be able to balance the bow like so. And when you put it on the string, you really just want it to go right on that point of contact, halfway about between the bridge and the fingerboard. And pretty much stay there. When it's on your shoulder, you're actually going to go in front of you here instead of like this. So what you really want to do is put the violin up in the place where your hand, your left hand, is capable of doing all the fingering. You want to lead with your left hand, and the bow is going to come to the instrument instead of the instrument coming to the bow. A lot of people kind of bring it here to get that weight there, but that's really not right, and it'll inhibit you in the future. So you want to put the instrument up on your left side, over your foot, so all your attention's really balanced over this instrument. And you want to bring the bow to that spot. So reach forward, find that reach. And I like to have my elbow and hand sort of in a line with the basic level of where the bow is. The hair is going to stay straight, so you can think of that as a plane. Each string has its own plane. And that's sort of how you do it. In the end, everything becomes circular and soft motion anyways. So practice things like this, getting circles this way like you're rowing a boat. And when you come into the instrument, practice wiggling the stick in between your fingers like you would a pencil, balancing it, placing it at the frog, and you can see also my wrist moves as the bow moves. In order to keep the bow straight, when I'm at the frog, I'm going to have a little bit of a bend looking down this way. And when I'm at the tip, it's going to be the other way. And that really is controlling where the tip of the bow is. In a more advanced technique, my fingers actually do almost like this stroking, petting motion. And I really am. I'm stroking the string with the bow. And making the changes soft and fluid, almost like a figure eight would be, like doing something like this. So you can practice motions like this. Again, thinking of the hand being open and soft. And at the tip, you can see that the bow hair, it does change a little bit. It goes, it's hard for me to keep it perfectly straight, so I roll it over a tiny little bit. But for the most part, I want to keep the hair flat onto the stick, onto the string rather. So what I want to do actually is I want to tilt the bow a little bit away from my face, a little bit towards the scroll. That way the pressure is going to ride this way instead of, or ride this way instead of riding towards the bridge, which will get this nasty ponticello sound. So you want to get that sort of lilt, this little tilting feel to your bow. Point it just a little bit away, and it'll keep the hair relatively flat. Now you also want to do your string changes carefully. It's best, I've sort of learned, to let things be fluid, and when you're rising towards the G string from the E string, you want to lead from the hand, and when you're falling to the E string from the G string side, you want to lead with the elbow and pull things down. So you have this almost this motion going on, just a little bit, rather than like this. If your elbow becomes too pronated, you can get frozen. And that's good for some aggressive playing. You can really dig into that string that way. But for the most part, you want to keep everything very relaxed. And then it'll help you be very expressive. The last part is the softness of the fingers can almost act like a cushion to absorb the shock of dropping or changing the bow strings, as they can sort of hold the bow up here. As they come to the string, they can push down, and you land and absorb the shock again, like so. It's almost like a cat dropping from high up, reaching its legs down and absorbing that shock. So it can practice motions like that too. And finally, the last part we'll talk about right here is grabbing the string. If you have this fulcrum action going with your thumb, which really is a bent shape instead of a straight shape, you can move the bow around it like that. You can grip the string by just sort of twisting this way, and your bow will sink down ever so slightly, and I call it a string grab. So when you grab that string, you can think of it as pressure. 0 pressure is just pure balance, and 10 is as hard as you can right down on the string. And even if you give maybe a 5 halfway, or even less, you can grip that string enough so that when you move your bow, the string won't move in this. So when you have this finger grab here, you can use your arm to sort of pull in and push out. Touch, grab, pull, touch, grab, push, rather, touch, grab, push, and the other way. And that'll get that good bow richness. You can adjust the pressure, of course, and as you get more advanced, the artistry is in how you adjust that pressure from nothing to full pressure. So that's basics of bow control. Practice all these things slowly first, and then speed them up, and you'll be a master in no time.